Hi everybody. A while back I did a review of this Biolite stove, and I promised that previously I've done a review of my Vital survival stove. So I promised that I would do a side-by-side comparison of them, and that's what I'm going to do this morning for you. I'm going to go over all the general dimensions and weights and things first, then I'm going to talk about some pluses and minuses of each stove, some features of each stove, and then I'm going to light them up and kind of show you how they heat water and things like that. So we're going to start out with the Vital survival stove. First of all, the Vital survival stove itself weighs in at 29.3 ounces, and the Biolite stove weighs in at right around 35 ounces. So the Biolite is about 6 ounces heavier than the Vital survival stove is. As far as dimensions go, the Vital survival stove is about 9 inches long and 5 inches across, and then right around 2 inches tall. The Biolite stove, when it's folded up, is about 5 inches wide and deep, and probably around 7.5 or 8 inches tall. When it's assembled, it's slightly larger than that because you have to open up the feet and then mount the fan unit like this. So it's slightly larger when it's assembled, but the packed up height is what I mentioned earlier. With the Vital survival stove, it has a battery pack that you have to keep with it, and the battery pack plugs into an outlet on the end of the stove, and then it's got a windscreen that stores in the base of it like this. The windscreen opens up, and then the windscreen just sets in place like this. One of the things that I do like about the Vital survival stove is that you can adjust the size pot that you're working with. By just moving these fingers, you can move the fingers in so that you can work with a really small cup. For example, a cup that might fit on the bottom of a nail gene will very easily fit on this, because you can put small items on this stove without any issue. Or if you open up the fingers like this, you can put something larger very easily, like a frying pan. Here's a frying pan that I've got handy, and you can put something that's much larger on it. So the cooking surface itself on the Vital stove, I think, is probably a little bit more flexible than on the Biolite. The Biolite is fine for larger pots. I've never had an issue with larger pots on it, but when you're talking about a real small cup, it blocks the fire opening. So that's a minor downside to the Biolite. With the Vital survival stove, it has two fan speed settings that you can use. There's a low here, and then there's a high, and the Vital survival stove also has a low speed and a high speed fan setting, so they both have adjustable fan settings. In addition, the Vital survival stove has a damper that you can use to, in addition to the fan speed, you can control the amount of air that's going to be getting to your fire. As far as how you go about lighting the stoves, one thing that I kind of like about the Vital survival stove is that this burning compartment is removable. So when I go about just lighting the fire, I've got a couple of small pieces of fat wood that I'll use, and it's probably the easiest way to get it going. So when I light this, I can just take the shield away, and I can light it by just having an open an open surface to work off of. Give that a second to catch. If any of you have watched my videos before, you know that I absolutely love fat wood when it comes to getting a fire going quickly. Sometimes, except when I'm on video, and then sometimes it just doesn't seem to want to catch. There we go, that's better. And so what I can do now is I can get the base of this fire going pretty easily with a couple of small pieces of fat wood. And then once I'm happy with that, then I can just take the burning compartment cover and put it on there. And then all I need to do is, once I've got some good flame going, I can add in other small pieces of tinder pretty easily. And I can turn the fan on. Normally I'll throw it on low at first, and then I just feed the wood in as it catches. So I'm going to give that a minute to get going here, and then I'm going to show you how I light the Biolite stove. The Biolite stove, I have to light and then drop everything into the compartment here, because there's no way to really go about getting rid of it, or opening it up. So that's a bit of a hassle. It's not terrible. I find that these little fire starter bricks are kind of handy for getting this one going. So I'm just going to take a half a brick like this, take some small pieces of fat wood here, break those up and feed this all into the burning compartment. One of the things that I really like about the Biolite stove is that the burning compartment is much taller than what I can put into the Vital stove. If I measure the side of it, this burning compartment is 6 inches deep, which means I can use much longer pieces of wood. I don't have to break them as small, and it's about around 3 inches across. Whereas with the Vital stove, I've got a compartment that's about 2.5 inches deep, and then 4 inches by 4 inches. So it's about the same overall size. That's probably a little bit smaller on the Vital, but I have to use shorter pieces of wood, which can be kind of a pain because it's harder to break things shorter than longer. Now that I've got the wood going in here, I'm just going to turn the fan on. And I'm going to continue to add wood to the Biolite. If you notice, a piece like this I can add to the Biolite pretty easily, but that piece would be too long to put on in the Vital stove. So I'm going to feed some more pieces here into the Biolite. Both of them light pretty easily. I've never had too much of a problem getting them going. Add a couple more pieces in here, and also I'm going to turn the stove up on the Vital stove. Just kind of keep feeding some wood into the compartment. So while these are getting going, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the pluses and minuses on these stoves. One of the things that's a downside to the Vital survival stove is that it needs AA batteries. You have to have AA batteries in order to be able to make the fan run. So if you're in the woods and you don't have batteries, this is going to be pretty much just a big old paperweight. Whereas with the Biolite stove, there is a prong that sticks out into the fire compartment that uses the heat from the compartment to actually charge an internal battery here. This does have a battery in it, but it's an internal battery that recharges from the heat of the fire. Also, with the Biolite, there's a little USB charging jack down here, and when the light on the bottom turns green, then what will happen is you can charge USB devices from this. Now I'm going to turn the fan on to high for the Biolite, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how these things cook now that I've got a fire going in both of them. A couple of smaller pieces. Again, this piece that's too long for this fits perfectly in here. So I'm going to grab a quick pot. And we will, I'll show you how those pots cook, and then we'll pretty much wrap this review up because I know I'm probably getting a little bit long. Both of the stoves have about the same heat capacity, and both of them are pretty good about not smutting up your pots because having the fan, it ensures more complete combustion. But for the Biolite stove, we got a pot sitting on top here, and we can heat that up. For the Vital stove, I've got one of my cups here, and I'm going to rotate the prongs in so that I can put that on the fire. And you can see this will take a small cup also. So they're both real nice stoves. I like them both. They both do what they're really designed to do, which is give you a real nice hot efficient flame. You don't have to carry you don't have to carry fuel for either one of these stoves. The biggest difference and the biggest advantages are that the Biolite stove recharges itself based on the heat of the fire that you're using. The Vital Survival stove, you actually have to carry extra batteries with you. The Vital Survival stove packs flatter than the Biolite. The Biolite is about the size of a Nalgene bottle, so you want to make sure that you have enough room in your pack. The Biolite's a little bit heavier than the Vital stove, but I also like the fact that turn that fan down a bit. The Vital stove does require smaller, shorter pieces of tinder. It's got a smaller firebox to it, so you have to feed it more frequently. And that's my side-by-side comparison of the two. If you have specific questions, please place them in comments under the video, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as I can. But they're both really good stoves, depending on what you're looking for. The Vital Survival stove is probably a little bit less expensive than the Biolite, but they're both good stoves. They just have pluses and minuses as pretty much anything else that's out there. They'll both boil water in probably about 4.5 or 5 minutes. And that's it. Like I said, if you have any questions, please post them below the video in the comments section. I'll answer them. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you did, please favorite the video and maybe even subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about the channel. And as always, have fun, be safe, and hey, take your kids camping. Have a great day, everybody.